Hello, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. We have more news here today. It's been kind of a interesting few days here in the news. Of course, we've got more bad news with relates to weather. Puerto Rico is being slammed right now by another hurricane. In fact, I forgot the name of the hurricane. Kind of hard to keep track of them all. Mexico's city has been rocked with a 7.1 earthquake, over 200 dead. And the markets are not reacting negatively at all to this. And as unfortunate as the news is, it seems like it's just part of the regular news cycle. And it's very unfortunate. I pray for the people of Mexico during this hard time. And of course, those of Puerto Rico as well. They've lost power through the whole territory in Puerto Rico. But today, the Federal Reserve has acted, and gold and silver down because of it. And it's quite some interesting news here with relation to the economy here. How the Federal Reserve is October reversal of historic stimulus leaves rates unchanged. So this article here by CNBC, we'll just kind of go through it here. The Federal Reserve took the first tentative steps Wednesday to unwind its history-making economic stimulus. As markets expected, the U.S. Central Bank announced it will begin to roll off its $4.5 trillion balance sheet in October. Most of those assets consist of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities that acquired under a program known as quantitative easing. Yeah, that's right. So they're going to ease back even more on that. At the same time, the Fed did not raise its benchmark interest rate from its current 1% to 1.25% target, but indicated that one more hike is likely this year. Officials have projected one fewer rate hike than initially forecast between now and 2019. As the forecast stands with the week's revisions, there will be 3 increases in 2018 and 2 in 2019. Stocks retreated slightly after the announcement, but the balance sheet in a program merited just a brief mention near the end of the statement released after the 2-day meeting. The Policymaking Federal Open Market Committee stated only that the balance sheet normalization program as outlined in June will commence next month. The market would have liked to see a little more detail on some of the stuff, said J.J. Kinnan, the chief market strategist at TD Ameritrade. Although they've been very transparent, they do have a tendency to hold information. This is one more time we see that situation. The Fed, for the first time, did provide a formal timetable for how the operation will take place. Instead of reinvesting all the proceeds of its massive bond portfolio, the Fed will allow $10 billion to roll off at first, increasing quarterly in $10 billion increments until the total hits $50 billion starting in October 2018. The move to hold the line on interest rates and reduce the balance sheet gained unanimous committee approval. So it's quite interesting. The article just kind of goes on here to see all this information. And though the stock market reacted a little bit here and retreated slightly, it gained for the 7th day in a row. It hit record highs. And gold and silver reacted as well. And, and part of the article talked about how, the gold and silver, and that the market was expecting this announcement. We've seen gold and silver go down, and platinum as well, obviously. And earlier today, I noticed that gold did dip slightly below 1,300 briefly. And I quietly thought that we wouldn't see it. We wouldn't see gold go under, $1,300. But now it's quite possible that it could dip back under that period. And, it's all goes with the dollar index and and then the fear index as well, the volatility index, the VIX, those type of things. And, of course, we can guess. We're not going to look at it now, but we can guess that those are taking the expected directions here. And really it all boils down to is what is strong and what is stable. And all the other currencies in the world, they're all fiat-based. But the most stable currency is the dollar. And the strongest currency is the dollar. And it's under threat by all means. I mentioned in the last video how, the BRICS nations would certainly like to see something else that could rival the dollar. And of course, with the renminbi joining the breadbasket of world reserve currencies last October, almost a year ago, I think there's baby steps in that direction. But I think it's going to be quite a while unless something drastic happens, which it could. But we're seeing some things occur. And I do honestly think that even though we have $1 trillion debt, if we see less deficits growing and maybe some of that debt go down in the next year or two, I mean, we're going to have this infrastructure package probably come, which is going to be another $1 trillion added to the debt if Trump has his way for infrastructure spending in the country. But if in other areas and after this is over, then spending can go down, I think that could really help a lot with the dollar, with its stability. I will say, too, that during the presidential campaign of 2016, only one candidate that I know of talked about a smart solution for the Federal Reserve. And that is not necessarily getting rid of the Federal Reserve, but having a rules-backed monetary system with gold as a part. And so it's just one of many facets that could provide sort of a stranglehold, or not really stranglehold, but sort of a something to keep the dollar in control. Sort of a brace on the dollar to keep it from going one way or the other, to keep it stable. And that's really what's needed. And so far, there's been reforms in that manner. Obviously, there's the potential that Janet Yellen's term may be renewed, and as mentioned that in the previous video as well, there's also a chance that we may get a new Federal Reserve chair. I don't think any of the candidates that are lined up are all these really great supply-siders. Kind of would nice to have Stanley Fischer in there, but somebody that's on the inside who thinks from the outside would be very nice to have a supply-sider economist in there. But we shall see. Those are things. But as of today, at least it looks like the dollar is king, and the economy is doing okay. And hopefully, it looks like investors and economists out there are hopeful that there'll be some good things coming for the economy if Congress can get its butt in rear and actually get something done legislatively to help stabilize the economy with some real stabilization. We shall see. So post your thoughts below. I'd like to extend the multitude of gratitude to you for watching and encourage you to please rate, comment, and subscribe.